What is a stand that you took with a customer that you will never apologize for? I was working at Home Depot, pulling night shifts to pay for school. It was like 9:50 p.m. We close at 10, and I'm just trying to count down the register when this dude bursts through the doors. He's sweating like crazy, kept looking over his shoulder, and his hands were shaking as he held his phone. "Where are your hammers?" he asked, but not in a normal way. He was breathing heavy and kept glancing at the parking lot through the windows. I told him aisle 7, but something felt super off. He was twitchy, like he'd had too much coffee or something worse. So I followed him over there just to be helpful, you know? That's when he started asking weird questions. Which one's heavy enough to break glass? And do you have anything that could smash through a car window? Red flags started going off in my head. Normal people don't shop for hammers at closing time asking about breaking glass. I thought maybe his car was locked or something, but then he kept checking his phone and muttering under his breath. "You locked out of your car, man?" I asked, trying to figure out what was going on. He just stared at me for like 5 seconds, then said something like that. But his voice was all shaky and he wouldn't make eye contact. Plus, he kept looking at his phone, scrolling through what looked like photos or messages. Every few seconds, he'd glance toward the exit like he was planning something. My gut was screaming that this wasn't right. I've worked retail for 3 years, and you develop a sixth sense about sketchy customers. This guy wasn't just buying tools. He was buying tools for something bad. So when he grabbed a heavy claw hammer and headed to checkout, I made a decision that probably saved someone's life. "Sorry, man, we're actually closed. Register's already counted down," he exploded. "Your sign says you're open for 8 more minutes. Store policy. Can't process any sales after 9:50. That was complete bullshit, and we both knew it. But I wasn't about to sell this creep a weapon when every instinct was telling me something was wrong. He started yelling about customer service and threatened to call corporate. I just kept apologizing and saying my hands were tied. Finally, he threw the hammer on the counter and stormed out, calling me every name in the book. As soon as he left, I wrote down his license plate number through the window. Dude was driving this beat-up Honda with a cracked windshield. I called the non-emergency line and reported suspicious behavior. The operator seemed bored until I mentioned the hammer and breaking glass questions. Then she got serious real quick and took down all the details. Next morning, I'm getting ready for my day shift when 2 detectives show up at the store. They asked to speak with whoever worked last night, so my manager brought me over. Turns out this psycho had been stalking his ex-girlfriend for weeks. She'd just filed a restraining order that afternoon. The cops had been looking for him since 8 p.m. because her roommate called saying he'd been sitting outside their apartment complex. They arrested him at 11:30 that night when he showed up at her building with a crowbar he bought at Lowe's. But here's the crazy part. He confessed everything. He told the cops his original plan was to smash her bedroom window with the hammer and have a conversation with her. When I wouldn't sell it to him, he wasted an hour driving to 3 other stores before settling on the crowbar. That delay was everything. The girl's brother had come over to check on her after the restraining order, and he's the one who called 911 when this maniac showed up. If the guy had gotten there an hour earlier with a hammer, she would have been alone. The detective said the ex-girlfriend wanted to thank me personally, but I told him that wasn't necessary. I was just doing what felt right. My manager tried to write me up for refusing a sale, but when corporate heard the story, they gave me a commendation instead. They said trusting employee instincts about customer safety was exactly what they wanted.